Wolverines, are you ready? Dig your claws into a podcast that only bleeds green. UVU sports news, stats, and more with exclusive interviews. Made for the fans, by the fans. One Team All Green presents the Green Machine Podcast.
Hey everybody, it is Thursday night. We're here on another episode of the Green Machine Podcast. It is, again, our top 10 episode. We're down to number 9 right now. Looking forward to what we're going to talk about tonight, what our number 9 moment is. Guys, let's discuss this. Let's start this right off the bat so people don't sit here and wonder what we're talking about. But, both the UVU men and women's soccer teams made the WAC Tournament Championships this year or in 2019. Unfortunately, it ended up in heartbreak for both. So let's first talk about the women. Well, Sorry.
You're very passionate about this topic. We're all very passionate about this topic.
So our number nine is the UVU men's and women's soccer team making the WAC Tournament Championships. Why not? I mean, how many teams at UVU can say they've made a WAC Tournament Championship this year? So that's our number 9, and we're going to first start out talking about the women's match against Seattle. I mean, it's just so hard. Can we just say that we hate Seattle soccer? Can we flat out say that?
Yeah, for sure. I have nothing against Seattle U. Honestly, I think it's great programs, great school. But every single year it feels like their soccer teams rob us blind. And look, they're great teams, but you have to hate that feeling because every time it comes down to them and us, I just get this pit in the bottom of my stomach. But I think it's a wall that we have to climb, right? If we're going to win the conference championship and earn those bids, you have to be, the big bad team, the big bad brother that's always kind of kept you down.
Yeah, I like what you said, Micah. That's a wall that these teams are going to have to climb, and both the teams were so incredibly close this past season. I mean, the women were up, and it was the 86th minute when Seattle got it says right here on Go UVU, a scrum in the box and was just smashed into the net. So it wasn't even like a well-built-up goal for Seattle. They just smashed it into the net. They just kind of got lucky. So unfortunately, the soccer gods did not smile upon UVU in the title games, but the women were 4 minutes away. And then it was a great shot in overtime that Seattle scored. It was outside the box, just skipped a right past poor Ali Jara, and Seattle ultimately won. But, I mean, like you said, Micah, that's a wall that they're going to have to climb, and both teams were so close. So hopefully next year's the year that they can do it.
Well, think about this too. So, like you said, UVU was 4 minutes away from going to the NCAA tournament for the second time in 3 years under Chris LeMay. That's amazing. Okay. Yep. And it just found the foot of a Seattle player. I believe it was, where was it? It's Jessie Ray who it found her foot somehow in that scrum. Yeah. And then the golden goal was scored with a minute left in the first extra time period. So it's like all they had to do was hang on for 4.5 minutes and the match was over. It just – I don't know. It's sad, and I mean Seattle's a great program both for the men and the women, but it's just depressing to lose to them in heartbreak fashion when you've had such a great run and a great season. And I mean, it's just sad.
Yeah, it is. But, ultimately go back to what you said. What Chris LeMay has done in such a short period of time, and he had a great foundation from Coach Anderson, don't get me wrong. But the level of players that were leading this team and the seniors, I think Brianna DeWall and Madeline Moore, I think they both got credited with the assist, and Amber Tripp just crushed it in the 31st minute to put us up. There's a lot of talent. And like you said, I mean, several tournament appearances in 4 years is nothing to scoff at. And so I'm okay taking the loss. You know, as much as I can be okay taking a loss that I didn't play in, right? But you know, this women's team is really remarkable, and they've done a lot to prove themselves over the last few years. Remind me, I don't know if you know this, but does Bree DeWall have another year, or does she graduate as a senior?
I think she does.
Well, I think she
Last year
does
was
too,
her
because
junior year.
she went on
Okay.
a mission, and I think she has 3 years left. I think she went on a mission after her
Really?
first year. Yeah. So I think she has
Whoa,
one more
okay.
year left.
I didn't know that. But I mean, if anyone's watched Brianna DeWall play, I mean, absolutely incredible. There's a lot of talent coming back when we have women's soccer again. You know, they've proved themselves year after year. And so with a really solid senior class, I think it's not going to be long before we're back on top, you know, taking down WAC championships again. And again, if you do it, remind me of this, is it 2 out of the last 4 years they've won the conference championship, right?
Yeah, because there was one under Anderson as well, I believe, where they played BYU in the first round. So yeah, there's
It's fantastic. I couldn't be more proud of this team. And you know, when it comes to playing BYU next door, you have a consistently top 10 women's team next door that you get to sharpen your teeth against, and they always take them down to 1 point. You know what I mean? It's always close, and they're right there. And I don't think they get enough credit for how well they play top tier teams.
Absolutely. You know, I think it's kind of ironic because 3 years ago, in this upcoming fall, when they won the WAC championship against Grand Canyon, you know, it was essentially a scrum with like 2 minutes left in regulation. I remember watching it and just hoping for a miracle, honestly, that we would find a goal and force overtime. And fortunately enough, we did, and we didn't get the golden goal in overtime, but we took it to PKs and we won in PKs. So I just think it's kind of funny how the roles were completely reversed in that situation, so to speak. It's funny how the tables turn like that sometimes, and that's sports for you. Sometimes it goes your way, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah, I mean, I think that year, if you're talking about the 2015 season, if I remember right.
2017.
2017,
about
first year under
okay.
Chris LeMay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what it was. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I mean, sorry, that just reminded me, 2015, I mean, they beat Seattle 2-0, you know what I mean, to get in that. And that was actually cool because they got to play BYU, you know, next door for a championship.
Well, and the thing that I like too right now about Chris LeMay is he'll schedule anybody anytime. Like his non-conference schedules are loaded with quality opponents, Power 5 conference opponents. I mean, he would probably schedule BYU every year if he could.
Oh, for sure.
It's just
Absolutely.
like he doesn't care what their non-conference schedule or record is. It's about being ready to play come WAC, you know, that WAC opener and into conference play. And that's why they do so well in that WAC tournament, because they're prepared to play high-quality opponents.
They're battle tested, you know, and exactly that. I think the last year they had like a top 10 strength of schedule in non-conference, if that makes sense. I mean, it was brutally hard, like insanely hard, and that even featured a marquee home matchup against BYU, which was an incredibly fun game to be a part of. You know, being right there in the den, heckling some of BYU women's soccer players. We were nice, but we were letting them know we were there. You know, it was a brutal non-conference schedule. For them to take that into WAC play and do as well as they did, it was tremendous, you know. And like Mike has mentioned, with the two seniors that they've got, in Bree DeWall and Amber Tripp, you know, you throw in, I think, one of your top goal scorers in Julie Carter. Next year could be just as good, if not better. And I think it will be better. I think that we'll see them hear their name called on Selection Sunday.
Let's hope. We can give all the fluff we want. Let's fluff it up then. We expect UVU to be in that championship match, and we expect them to win that WAC, you know, women's soccer tournament. I mean, and get to the NCAA tournament. I'm all on board with that.
Oh, we're expecting a national championship. It's national championship.
Yeah,
we
that
want
might be going a little far.
We want Stanford again. Still a little raw with that 9-1 game, but
just a little bit.
But we'll bring it back.
So let's move on to the other side of the spectrum. you want to lose in extra time. Well, it's even worse when you lose in penalty kicks in the championship match to basically your conference rival, who has, I want to say they've been in the way twice now, because in 2015? 15, they took it right away from Utah Valley in that championship match, and they did it again this year. Greg Moss might tell you that he respects Pete Fewing up at Seattle, and he loves Pete Fewing, and he's a great coach and everything. But I bet you off camera he might say, this is ridiculous. We are going to beat these guys sometime. If you don't know what we're talking about, the men lost in penalty kicks to Seattle. Again. Well, wasn't it just a golden goal the first time in 2015?
I think it was PKs.
It was PKs.
I think it was PKs.
Brutal. It's sad because Mitch Jensen, the goalkeeper for UVU, allowed one goal the entire tournament. 310 minutes, and he allowed one goal. And UVU didn't get to play in the NCAA tournament because they lose in PKs. I don't know what to say. Like that's words can't express the anger coming out of my mouth.
I remember being in Sunday school and streaming that match. Like, I was legitimately streaming it because I wanted our boys to win so bad. And when we scored the goal, I almost stood up in the middle of the lesson, and people next to me were like, what are you cheering for? And I pointed at my screen, and they were like, oh, okay. And they just kind of let me go back to doing my thing. And then really shortly after that, Seattle equalized, and oh man, just an intense match, really, because that's tough, you know. Oh, Micah, you threw me off. Hold on. Sorry, Micah, you threw me off.
Oh, well, he asked a good question because in 2015, the WAC Tournament Championship ended in heartbreak, but some good news did come out of it. So, Micah, why don't you tell us about that good news?
Yeah. We were still – I just wanted to clarify for anyone who's listening who wasn't, watching UVU soccer back then. Lost in PKs, that's heartbreak, Seattle U. However, UVU was selected to play in the NCAA tournament, and they went through the first round against SMU, and it was a heartbreak loss, 0-2. But I will say that UVU has tasted the NCAA tournament, and especially that year with how talented they were, 100% deserved it. Phenomenal record, great opponents, taking Seattle, a really phenomenal team, to PKs, you know what I mean, ranked team. It was fantastic. So I will say there was one little kind of golden ray of sunshine at the end of a really heartbreak season.
Is the first that 2015 squad was the first time ever at UVU that an athletic team earned an at-large berth to the NCAA tournament.
Yes.
So let's make that clear. They earned an at-large berth and played in the NCAA tournament in just their second year as an NCAA Division I program. Pretty remarkable. So,
yeah.
Go ahead.
No, I want everybody to remember, UVU Athletics is in its infancy overall. And so whenever people kind of get on their high horse talking about UVU and they'll compare it to a lot of other schools, you're essentially dealing with 10 years-ish as a Division I program. That is insane, the amount of success that's happened at this school for such a short period of time. I would love to compare that to any other school in the state, especially a soccer team in 2014 having their inaugural season, and then the next season not winning a conference that people in soccer will know, but in most circles kind of brush off. And they played so well that they got an at-large bid. That's huge. It's absolutely phenomenal. It speaks to all the players, all of the the OGs of the game that we remember watching play, and Coach Moss.
Well, sorry, Ty. We'll get to you in just a second. But think about that 2015 WAC Championship match. UVU had that match stolen from them. I'm not going to lie. It was stolen from them.
It's a terrible call.
Because that penalty call in the box with, what was it, like the 88th minute?
Why don't you share what went down?
Oh, my goodness. Alex Neff had put UVU up 1-0 early on in the second half. I believe it was the second half with just a laser, okay? UVU's holding on for dear life. Seattle's continuously trying to attack the box, and they kick one in there, and the guy falls down going up for it. He jumped for it, falls down, doesn't even get touched. Official calls a penalty kick. He buries it. I believe it was a few minutes later, Colin Partee was so frustrated. The goalkeeper for UVU was so frustrated that he got a red card, coming out to challenge a ball. So he was out. So UVU played all the extra time with 10 guys and still held on and nearly won in penalty kicks. So, they had that match stolen from them. And those guys on that team, I guarantee you, Connor Salmon, Alex Neff, Skylar Milne, all of those guys will tell you that match was stolen from them. And I believe somebody told me once that the official actually apologized to UVU for that call after the match. So that's heartbreaking enough. And then to have, a match where it wasn't really stolen from you, just to lose the championship match in kind of the same way, except for not a bad call. This past season, it's like, what do you tell your guys if you're Greg Moss? And we'll ask him sometime. But what do you tell your guys that, hey, you know what, we gave it our all, we did what we're supposed to do, and the ball just didn't find the back of the net for us?
It's unfortunate because UVU's just had some really bad luck outside of a few golden moments. 2015 getting the at-large bid, and 2016 the regular season conference champions. But 2016 snubbed of a deserved at-large bid. I think somebody told me that there were 3 P5 teams that got in over them that that had 500 records. Same amount of wins as they had losses. That's terrible. You know what I mean? And UVU had an incredible season, and deserved an at-large bid and never got it. Greg Moss thought that they were going to get it because after they lost in the quarterfinals against UNLV, which was a heartbreaker as well. That one stunk being there. You're hosting the tournament, you're the regular season champion, and to go out like that in the quarterfinal, that was tough. And Moss was saying our season's not over yet, and to just not even get an at-large bid, that stunk. Well,
didn't UNLV win the tournament that year too?
No, they went to the final and they lost. They went to the final, but I don't remember who they lost to. But they got hot at the right time, I guess you could say, and didn't quite have the goods to win it all, but they made it to the final. 2015 losing in PKs to Seattle, and then 2019 losing in PKs losing to Seattle in PKs again. So I hope that next year, 2020, I'm going to say right now, I think we have a season. I think that this is the year that they finally get things bouncing their way. I'm going to say it. They've got an incredibly loaded recruiting class coming in. They've got a good core of seniors, with guys like Zach Moss, Caleb White's returning, Aaron Myers back off of the knee injury. That'll be huge. He gets his junior year back, in fact. So that's big. You got him for 2 more seasons. So there's a good foundation for this team, and they still have a chance to make a run at the title this year.
Well, remember their recruiting class, like you talked about, top 20 in the nation.
Kyle, can we get Greg on? I have so many questions for him with this recruiting class. I know all of you do too. Kind of how the team is shaping up, with the way things are looking, in sports and kind of how their season's winding up. I would love to ask him a few questions.
We are absolutely going to get Greg Moss on this podcast.
Okay,
absolutely.
We'll have him on, and I'll say right now, anyone who's listening, drop us a DM, or next time we'll put out another Mailbag Monday. Love to get any thoughts you have or questions you have for Greg, and we'll try and ask him. But yeah, it would be awesome.
Something else to think about 2015. Sorry, we're going back to it. It's not 2015, about this 2019 WAC Championship match.
Yeah.
UVU was without WAC Player of the Year Blake Frischnecht, who had gotten hurt in the quarterfinal match against Kansas City, which UVU won that match 4-0. So you think about was it 3-0 or 4-0?
3-0.
3-0. Sorry, excuse me, 3-0. Either way,
Dominant.
think about that. The leading goal scorer in the WAC wasn't playing in the championship match. That hurts. Luis Garza wasn't playing in the championship match. So UVU was down 2 of its best players, and they lost in penalty kicks. Why? Why do good things happen to bad people?
For you, Seattle, we're calling you the bad people. You've robbed us blind.
Yeah. Why do bad things happen to good people? It goes both ways there.
Yeah, the soccer programs are in good shape right now, and
yeah,
I mean it's and that's the fun part about kicking off the season with 2 of your best sports. We won't say they're the best sport on campus in the fall. Sorry, that's reserved for someone else right now until they're proven wrong. So we'll get to that at another time. But I mean, like it was talked about on our friend's show, the Protect the Den, show. Clyde Field is amazing when it's lit up under the lights, filled with the students and the den and everything else. There's been some electric
top 10 attendance for any women NCAA Division I team, and men have a top 15.
I mean, it's electric. Insane. You've been there, Micah. You've been there, Ty.
It's the greatest atmosphere. If you haven't been to Clyde Field on homecoming night or opening night or any other home game, it's crazy. There's a packed student section. The bleachers are literally falling apart because they're so full of people. They'll punch it in the back of the net and the whole place explodes. It's phenomenal. It's absolutely incredible.
I second that.
If you haven't gone, go. Please go.
I second that. Everything he just said. It's unbelievable, and Greg Moss loves the 12th Wolverines, He attributes, the 12th Wolverines to so much of his team's success at home, because when you get playing in front of 4,000 rowdy people, it's unbelievable, especially in soccer where it's such a momentum-filled sport. It's crazy, and whenever there's a goal for UVU, boom, the place erupts. And it's so fun to be a part of. So fun.
Well, the worst part, though, right now is I don't think we'll ever get a ranked opponent to come to Clyde Field to be the home opener for the Wolverines. I mean, they beat, what was it, 20th ranked Washington. They beat 13th ranked Akron. I mean, that no ranked opponents want to come to Clyde Field. Let's just leave it at that. Greg Moss would agree with us.
Yep.
No ranked opponents want to start early on, at least be the home opener for the Wolverines.
Yeah.
Sorry, I was just double checking those numbers. Yeah, 13th ranked Akron.
See, I sometimes have things that I remember. I'm good. I'm accurate, right?
You nailed it. That was I think I picked that as my favorite sports moment when we were doing that was the Washington game. The 2-1 Washington game.
That Washington game was so much fun. I mean, that was a doubleheader for me coming straight from the RSL match in which RSL beat the Colorado Rapids, more commonly known as the Crapids, and then zooming down to Clyde Field and watching UVU take down Washington. That was a fun night of soccer for me.
Take down Washington with 10 guys.
10 guys.
10 guys.
Seeing how they took on Seattle with 10 guys in 2015 and then Washington with 10 guys.
Don't you dare say it. I know what you're going to say here. Don't you dare say it.
Nope.
Okay, I'll leave it. I'll leave it right there. I won't say anything.
Anyways, guys, thanks for listening tonight. We love these top 10 moments. We're going to continue it. Next week will be our number 8. We want to give a shout out. Check out our friends at Protect the Den. They have some good quality stuff that they're doing, and they're going to be bringing a lot of UVU content as well. It's always great to have more people talking about UVU. Oh. Go ahead, Micah. You look like you were –
sorry. If you haven't – I just wanted to chip in. I just got excited. If you haven't seen it, they did just do an interview with Greg Moss, which was awesome. If you haven't listened to it, go listen to it. Greg is just phenomenal. Whenever you talk to him, you just get so amped. So I'm glad they had him on. But yeah, go check them out.
And remember
Bryce and Jared. Yeah, Bryce and Jared. Keep bringing up the coverage, guys. We love it. We love seeing you guys' stuff. We hope you guys love seeing our stuff. I think Logan Packer was saying, called us kind of partners in crime, bringing the UVU coverage. And I love that, it's great that you guys are out here providing UVU coverage, when not a lot of people will, same with us. So it's always great to see people bringing more and more coverage to this school and this athletics program that we're so passionate about.
Remember, soccer fans, if I don't lose 40 pounds by, what did I say? Did I say the season opener?
Season
opener, then I will buy season tickets to the men and the women's season. Home.
Where are you right now? What's your?
Let's not talk about that right now. I'm still struggling. So if you really want to get on the bandwagon, you better subscribe to our page, One Team All Green. Follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and so forth, so that I can pick out someone to give these season tickets to if I don't get down to 40 pounds. But remember to follow us.
That wasn't me.
Follow us on Instagram. Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, One Team All Green. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. We appreciate all of you following us, listening to us, and we have Mailbag Monday coming up, so send us your questions. Send us things you want us to talk about so we can answer them right here on the Green Machine podcast. Anything else you guys want to say before we close out here?
Go Wolverines, baby.